folks, we join in media res. I have another egg to open. Welcome to Secret Rare, the egg opening podcast.
Oh,
amazing.
Come on.
Pancham.
Probably.
Ooh.
Oh, Dino, that's all right.
you'd love to see it.
Yeah, I think
stats.
Yeah, let's see. That's quite poor stats if you ask me. It's fine, but from an egg,
it's not bad.
you're wanting something better. Welcome back to the
Right in the
Secret
blender.
Rare podcast, the weekly Pokemon podcast where we open eggs and then Tom tells us to blend those cute little pals. Oh, not pals, sorry, that's another thing. This week I am joined by Nathan Ellingsworth and Tom Ryan-Smith. How are we doing, folks? Tom, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Just having a lovely evening. My boiler's broken, so I'm having a
Hell
great
yeah.
time. But other than that, all's good.
It's currently a serious weather incident across the UK at the minute, so a broken boiler is exactly what you're after. And Nathan, any home damage for you?
No, but I am getting the plasterers in tomorrow, actually, because we've got the plaster on the wall is just fallen off, and it's really cold. And the landlord,
Nice.
was, when we moved in, was like, might do something about that, we'll see. And it's been 3 months. So, yeah, I actually am getting some home improvement done, yeah.
I've been
Love a
extremely
landlord.
cavalier with the use of my heating this week, so I look forward to a quintuple digit bill. But in better news, I was sitting at the traffic lights the other day and my phone lit up and it was 2 Monzo notifications with all the money for the Paldean Fates pre-orders getting taken out. So it's this week. I'm excited. It will be here by the time I get home. As usual, Americans have just seemingly got it. It was like on the shelves in some Walmarts and things like this. So people have been
Sounds
opening
about
it.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is an unscheduled first thing on the agenda. When I was in Texas, I went to a Walmart looking for
Were you in
Pokemon
Texas?
products.
Oh,
I was
must
in
be
Texas.
nice. Must be nice.
Ah.
Jet
It was-
setting, will we?
It was minus 15, so it was very cold. But
Ooh.
I went over to a Walmart and I was like, you know what? Maybe they'll have some of those weird mystery cubes that you've got like a 1 in a million chance of getting a Skyridge pack out of, something like this. They didn't, but they did have the stackable tin that has Guzzlord and Umbreon, and they're like square.
Mm-hmm.
Come with a couple of packs. They're okay. They're basically just the Pokeballs. Like, I don't really see why those are different lines. They also had sleeping versions of the Sitting Cuties. So for video watchers, the Sitting Cuties are these plush that Pokemon do at the minute. They're like 10 quid
Ah.
and they all look very nice. But they had ones that were like asleep, like that, a sleeping Oshawott, etc. And they also had the biggest rip-off in the world. Yes, a little Trubbish Sitting Cutie.
There he is.
It's not the Trubbish minute.
It's not the Trubbish minute yet.
Not-
We will get
not
there.
yet, but
He's always ready for the Trubbish minute. They had these packages that were like 20 foil cards, but obviously they were facing away. And I've looked up these before. The 20 foil cards you get are all reverse holos. So if
That's
you're spending
brutal.
$10 on 20 reverse holos, good luck. But yeah, there was a place in Texas that I saw on Pokemon Go called the Indigo League, which was a Pokemon shop, but it was slightly out of my way. So let's get into it. 1 month-ish, 1 month and 3 days when you listen to this, 1 month and 4 days, it will be Pokemon Day, 27th of February. Every year they do some big Pokemon presents, and we're at a point now where we don't know what is going on in the world of Pokemon video games at all going forward. So I'll start with you, Tom. Out of 10, where are your expectations of how big a Pokemon Day this will be? And kind of top line, what are you expecting them to show? Is it 2 games? Are we just getting this year's game? Or are we getting a look into what will be the Switch 2 game? What's the thoughts?
I don't know. I'm trying to think back to last Pokemon Day, which was at the event in London we went to. And I can't... What was the big thing there? I think they showed off Pokemon TCG Classic and Pokemon Sleep and Concierge trailer. But was there a reveal, or was it just the DLC for...
I think it was
Scarlet
just the
and Violet?
Scaz and Vaz DLC was the main thing.
Sleep was the main announcement, because I remember Joe Merrick sat behind me going, "Woo!"
I've got it here. The announcements were that the Pokemon World Championships would take place in Japan, in Yokohama.
Oh, yeah.
The Pokemon Trading Card Classic, Concierge, Zacian coming to unite, Pokemon Sleep, the Go plus plus plus, the introduction of Walking Wake and Iron Leaves, and the first full trailer for the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero. So
yeah, that makes sense. So I think we probably will this time see the 2024 game. We have to. In some capacity, I expect we'll see that. There's no way we won't. But obviously, I don't think we'll. I think this kind of ties into my theory that this generation won't be on the Switch Pro, the Switch 2, the whatever we're going to call the Switch. Who knows? It won't tie into that because it's always Pokemon never does first generation wise. It's always next time. So they can easily announce this game. No one's going to question anything console wise. Everything will be safe. If it's Ilka, I'll be upset. If it's a Legends, I'll be well happy. But you know what? I have no expectations whatsoever. Unless they announce Pokemon Snap 3, then I'll be very happy.
I'm kind of expecting that because we're in this weird situation where the Switch 2 is very likely this year, however, 2026 would be the 30th anniversary and therefore the perfect time to do Gen 10. They do, as you're suggesting, this year's game is maybe an Ilka game that is just on Switch and maybe on Switch 2 as well. Depends how the backwards compatibility thing works. I think maybe next year for 2025 will be the Legends, or I don't know if they would bring back Let's Go, whatever, and then 26 you get the final tease. But I wonder how much they lay out for this, because they have in the past done things where it's like, we've showed you everything we're going to show you today, but here's a quick fly through at Game Freak, and you see someone like modeling a Picky Peck, and you're like, that doesn't look like you can go on a 3DS. So yeah, I think we get a new game and a release date, like in November or whatever, because they need to put something out this year. Like something needs to be on shelves. I think we potentially get a tease that Legends is coming back because Legends sold so well. But yeah, I'm not sure. Nathan, I feel like this has got to be a big one. What do you think?
Well, we talked about this with our predictions and stuff as well. I do think this has to be bigger than last year, but you're right. They're saving everything for the 30th, so next year will be like another fallow year. Like, I don't know. I think they're gonna try and bring something back. I think they're gonna try and do another new Pokemon Snap-ish sort of thing. Maybe we'll get like a Stadium Battler. Maybe we'll get a Pokemon maybe we'll get a Pokemon Coliseum. I mean, the Stadium Battler. One thing I think that could do, that we've been complaining about for ages, is competitive needs an ability to just gen Pokemon, because people flying out to Japan and then getting told on the day that some of the Pokemon that they've brought with them aren't legal and they're getting like kicked out or whatever. No, cool. Let's just gen them. And if you don't want it in the mainline games, have a battler. We'll pay 40 quid for that. And then we just gen the Pokemon on that, and that's competitive. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe tie it to a different kind of RPG. Or, as I said before, maybe this is the year for like Mystery Dungeon coming back or something like that. I think it will be a big celebration. It'll be something really fun. But I think we're right. We're not seeing a tease of the next thing for a while. And like, remember, Let's Go was quite an early Switch game, and it looked really good. And, you know, they made a smaller game so they could make it pretty. I think that's what the first Switch game will be. I think it'll be a smaller game, Let's Go or something like that, and it will look cracking to be the first exclusive one. So, I don't know. I'll be very surprised if we get anything Switch 2 until next holiday.
Yeah, same here.
Even if
I think that this year's game will... Most people, nerds like us will play this year's game on the Switch too, but it won't be like a native version. It'll just be like the same way that when the PS5 came out, the PS4 games ran a bit better. That will be the case for whatever. If this is Ilka's Black and White.
Yeah, I was going to say, playing Pokemon Black and White on your 3DS, like...
Yeah, exactly. Whereas I think next year's Pokemon Day, they can realistically announce Gen 10, because it would be like a year away. What if they released Gen 10 on February 27th, 2026? Like an actual...
I only go against that theory just because of the cycle with the TCG.
Yeah.
And things like that. Like, that's the only thing that kind of holds me back from that. They're so beholden to it that Gen 10, I think, still has to be a year early.
Yeah, I think that'd be a waste. I think that'd be disappointing if they did that. But unless they have an idea for, and people's alarm bells will ring, I fully expect a game to release in 2026 that is Kanto based, because it's the Pokemon company, and either Gen 10 returns to Kanto, or they just do another remake of
HD 2D.
Red and Blue.
HD 2D. Let's go,
mate. I'd bite your arm off for that. But that's the thing. The whole machine has to work around like if we go to 2026, that'll mean the Scarlet and Violet era would have been 4 years, 5 years, and that's pretty long.
I have a controversial opinion. We've seen that Pokemon is obviously releasing more regularly, more than normal at the moment, obviously because we have the DLC packs and things like that. So DLC is now making the output even more. What if we get an announcement at Pokemon Day this year, and it's something small, it's something nice and friendly, it's like a Pokemon Snap 3, a Pokken 2, and then later in the year when the Switch 2 gets released, we get Scarlet and Violet Complete, where it runs properly, and it has all the DLC, and everything's there to go. And it's just like their way of fixing it and making it good. I can kind of see them doing that and having an more event-friendly version of Scarlet and Violet to play at events where it looks decent.
I mean, they did release a statement, like, you know, when a while after Scarlet and Violet came out, and it was like, we look to be improving the game, fixing bugs and stuff like that, and obviously, like, nilch, nada, none of that has happened. So I do think they kind of do have to do something, and if now they just kind of go like, cool, well, that's done. You know, we've played it, we love it, but I will be a little bit disappointed that Game Freak never put the effort in to address it.
Yeah, the Game Freak, they've clearly run out of road on the Switch, and that's not to say that games can't look much better than Scarlet and Violet does, but Game Freak do not optimize the way that like Monolith do or anything like that. No. So you've just got to accept at this point that throwing more raw power. I mean, you've seen how it runs on a PC, like even a shit PC. Like there is raw power that could be thrown at Scarlet and Violet, and I could see that. Especially
I have an opinion that I still stand by it, that the Switch 2 was delayed because the Switch was still doing so well.
Oh yeah,
and Scarlet and Violet was made for Switch 2 and just had to be pared back like mad to run the Switch, is why it runs so poorly.
Yeah,
like if you get close up to assets in Twitch on Scarlet and Violet, they're really nice. Like you actually wanted, what's it called, the main town, Mesagosa. You look at the floor and the texture on it when you're close to it. Things look really good. It's only when you go far away and see the pop in. I think that was a game for the Switch 2.
Well, I think
they also retextured all the Pokemon and gave them actual like fluff and scales and stuff. Like that is I do think you have a point, especially because I suppose 2 generations per console isn't that surprising. You get 2 generations on the DS. You get 2 generations on the 3DS as well. So maybe they were like, okay, we could just about make this work. But I think especially now that they've done the DLC packs, and the DLC packs are pretty substantial, like they're fairly long, they've got proper like story to them. It's not like the Isle of Armor thing where it was like one battle and that was basically it done. I could absolutely see a like complete edition or like a master edition or something.
I do think as well. I know getting into the weeds of pro conspiracies, there was reports.
Oh yeah, let's do it.
Well, there was reports from Imran Khan, who is a person people can very often trust when it comes to this sort of thing. That Switch Pro dev kits were out in the wild, and you know there was a plan to get the Switch Pro or something out, and both issues with lithium batteries and getting those transported around the world, as well as COVID, kind of made Nintendo scale back and go, okay, let's not have a shortage of a new console. Let's just keep doing what we're doing and sell those over Christmas. Let's not ruin our goodwill. And yeah, even if it wasn't Switch 2, I do think there's a world where Scarlet and Violet were like Switch Pro launch titles or something like that. Like, and it'll be the old thing, you know, when they did the new 3DS. It'll be like runs on both, better on new 3DS, and it's like, all right, it's a Hyrule Warriors scenario. It's like you can play that on a 3DS if you want, but you shouldn't.
Yeah, I feel with Pokemon, it gets stuck. Like the 3-year cycle, it gets stuck.
Yeah,
it has to release.
Yeah, I think you might be
sorry.
No, I agree, and VGC also reported, and so did Jason Schreier, similar things, that the Switch Pro was at least a going concern, but the way of the world the past couple of years has upset the apple cart in many ways. So yeah, I think Switch 2.
Wow, what happened?
Don't know, mate. Some bad flu, some really bad virus. Never heard of it personally. Simply too strong. I think if I don't want this year's game to be an Ilka remake of Black and White. I think that would be really gutting.
No one wants that.
Yeah, I think Ilka is working on, and this is even more gutting. I think I've said this before. I think Ilka's next remake will be 2025, and it's a remake of Gold and Silver for the 25th anniversary. because I just think that's what they're going to do, because they will have to mark gold and silver in some way, and that's easier than doing what the people want, which is a Legends Celebi game, a Legends whole game, something like that.
They can do both. Both still can happen. They can still have both. The thing is, I don't subscribe to the theory that there's going to be a black and white remix. I just don't. I don't think the popularity for those games is there outside of the core Pokemon fan base. Like if black white remake came out, your mum or your cousin's not going to walk to the shop and go, "Oh, I played that one. I'm going to get the remake." They'd be like, "Nah, gold and silver. Oh my god, yeah." They're not going to get the same hype as black and white.
You say that, but then the sales numbers are brilliant. Diamond and Shining Pearl, and that was a generation that was obviously like the DS was hugely popular. That still sold a lot to begin with, but like those sold like what 15 something, like 18 million, something mad. I can't remember, but like, or maybe 12. It doesn't matter. Over 10 million.
I do think Diamond and Pearl were popular, but I just don't think black and white were.
No, they weren't as popular as Diamond and Pearl at the time, and they in kind of the public consciousness now, like they're just not as revered. I agree. I know what you mean. It would be a bit of a risk.
Yeah. They're going to have to put some game out that gets the monkeys back in a modern game. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, having those three in jail permanently just makes me sad.
That was Concierge. That was Concierge.
Yeah. Oh, what if they made... Right, you listen to this. They make a Pokemon Concierge game and it's Pokemon Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
£1 million.
Slash Viva Pinata.
Sure. What if they gave Pokemon guns? You know, I hear that.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, and just maybe allegedly took some of the Pokemon models and maybe allegedly just copied them into your game, but maybe.
Who can say? Lots of people really upset about plagiarism a few months ago seem to not really care now. Anyway, story number 2. Next Japanese set has been revealed, courtesy of who else? Our friends at Poke Beach. Masks of Change is releasing in April, unsurprisingly headlined by Ogerpon. There's going to be as you can imagine, a main Ogerpon card, and there's going to be a new tool which will change the masks. So you've got the Wellspring mask, which is grass water, the Hearthflame mask, which is grass fire, and the Cornerstone mask, which is grass rock, which will be grass fighting in TCG terms. Nathan, what do you think about Pokemon like this that released with such a specialized item that are kind of required? Like, how do you think this will shake up the meta? Do you see Ogerpon dominating just because it's so kind of weird and so unpredictable?
I think it depends on the versatility in the match. If people can know you're going to have an Ogerpon in your deck, is the mask going to be like an Ace-Specs card? Can you only have one, and then you go in going like, I know which one I've put in?
It's a tool, so presumably not. You might be able to have all of them in there.
And then it could be a case of which one you pull. I don't know. It's exciting. I kind of like some of these specialized tactics. They are often a novelty, and generally they are balanced to within an inch of the life. Sorry. I don't know. Anything that shakes it up, anything that brings in a bit of excitement, totally on board for. And I do think after kind of EX and VMAX and stuff like that, we haven't had a bit wacky for a while. I'm excited to see what Ace-Specs bring back to the game as well. But like, yeah, why not?
The Ace-Specs look really nice. I've seen a few of them being
the new. You've seen the new holo as well.
The pink,
very nice. Very nice. They look
good. Yeah, Tom, what do you think of this? I think it's a bit strange, and it's a mechanic that seems that, like the mask mechanic itself, seems destined to die in this generation and never be brought back. But how do you think they'll adapt it to the TCG?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. Like, one thing I've done really recently is get into the TCG and play in it. Yeah. So, I actually cracked out the old TCG Classic of the week, and instead of using the cards that came with it, I used what's it called? The stadium where you learn to play.
Nice,
me and my girlfriend were using that to play on it just so it felt a bit fancy, but we were there using GX cards. So, like, I don't know the meta enough to know how much impact that will make, but I'm interested to see how it does, I guess, because I always remember when I watched the TCG at competitive play, I'm always like, I don't know what's happening because it's happening so fast. Yeah. So, I guess it's hard for me to make an opinion on it when I actually don't. I can't really say until.
It'll really depend how these masks affect like resistances and things like that when it actually, like, how much of a change will it be? Will it be a case of a mask just dictates a type of one of the moves, like it's colorless by default, and then if not, it's
Well, isn't
like a
Ogerpon
different...
by default grass anyway? So it'd have to be a
Yeah.
grass type to start, and then it would change.
Yeah,
But
I'm
then-
more mean like a move specifically being like it's like, oh, it's colorless energy and only does this if you don't have the mask. But if you have a mask on, it needs to be like it has to, you have to have a couple of grass energy. Like it seems like a lot of admin.
And as well,
It
obviously,
does.
like if it's grass, it could be like grass fire, and then it goes terra fire, so it gets rid of the grass weakness. So like stuff like that would be interesting. Obviously, we've got rotation coming up. Who knows? Who knows? Be very interested to see where Pokemon is TCG is in a few months.
So
Yeah,
I am
have we
actually...
seen the Ogerpon card yet? Has that kind of come out?
No, it's not been out because
Maybe it has like a base attack which works like the Amazing Rares, because the Amazing Rares had to have like 4 different energy types to attack with them, didn't they? So maybe they'll have a base attack that does that, and another attack which then changes per the mask.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe
it'll be
maybe it'll be handled like a Radiant or something, where you can only have like 1 or 2 of the masks. But it's
Was it Radiant that I'm thinking of? No, it's Amazing Rare.
yeah.
Or I mean, I was thinking maybe like Ogerpon's Terror attack works a bit like a V Star or something as well. Like I don't know. There's loads of ways they could do it.
That seems like the kind of Pokemon that once TPC put it in the game, creatures were like, oh, for Christ's sake, like what are we going to do to actually adapt this to the card game?
I will say Scarlet and Violet TCG, they keep adding things in which seem a lot more complicated than anything that was in Sword and Shield. Like Sword and Shield, other than like VMAX and V Star, seem pretty chill and understandable. They seem to have a lot more additional things with like the new tool stack cards and things like that. It just seems a bit more mad. I don't know. A bit more complicated. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to watch it.
So I think what's probably going to happen is you will do this, and then you'll maybe get a break. The next Japanese set after this will probably not introduce Terapagos, but then I think the next one will, and it'll introduce like stellar types, and then we go around the horn of getting all the big Pokemon as stellar types. You get like your shining stellar set where it's like a full art stellar Charizard that is like so bright it like burns your corneas off. But yeah, we've now finished the game stuff as far as we know, unless they decide to do another bit of DLC, which is actually something we never spoke about. Maybe they do another bit of DLC for Scarlet and Violet, considering how well those games are sold. But yeah, I think we're kind of in a holding pattern until we get a new game to make cards out of. So obviously when Legends came out, we got like your Astral Radiances and all the Hisuian Pokemon and stuff like that. They've now started putting Pokemon in cards that you can't catch them in Scarlet and Violet, so they're probably going to get to do everyone eventually. Nathan, where do you see the TCG ending up at the end of the year? Like, do you think we get all the way through to Terapagos stuff by, say, this time next year, or do you think they leave it a bit further?
No, definitely not if we are talking about the gap between generations that we're thinking about. I mean, one thing I wouldn't be surprised to see would be another sort of special set like 151. And remember, it took them so long to do a Pokemon Go set. Like
Neo.
I was thinking, we have just had Pokemon Concierge, we've had new Pokemon Snap, we've got like all of these games that, new Pokemon Snap especially could have an amazing set. And they could trade in on the nostalgia of the original Pokemon Snap. They could have some of like the original models. Like there's all sorts they could do. I think it'll be a special set before the end of the year, and I think Terrapogus and Petrarunt will be like a mythical intertwinedy thing, maybe starting next year.
Yeah. I also agree that because of all the spin-offs, they're well overdue doing a set that's like kind of not has one massive theme or anything like that, but like picks up on. But it's weird they never did like a wee subset for Cafe Remix. Like,
this time.
What was that called? The Radiant Collection, that subset that was on the end of Shining Legends or something. Anyway, the Radiant Collection where it was all cute Pokemon that had wee sparkles and stuff like that. Number one Cafe Remix stan Joe Merrick would go crazy for a Cafe Remix set. So maybe we'll get one of those eventually. Next topic is also TCG related. What the hell's going on with the TCG prices? Has there been so much stock that no one shop in the world can keep a hold of it? Basically, I was inspired to put this in the running order, because HMV have slashed prices specifically on Obsidian Flames to the point where if you can find them, an ETB is £25, a triple blister is £7, and a booster pack is £2.50. Tom, is this a symptom of Obsidian Flames not being too popular a set, or as I have suggested, are we in a Pokemon dip?
I think we're in a dip. I think popularity is nowhere near what it was during the pandemic and afterwards. I think we're now just at a point where it's not quite there. I was watching a video and it was Danny Phantom is called, YouTuber, and he was talking about temporal forces.
Tempura forces, thank you.
Tempura.
And I think what you call it confused me, that I thought it actually was tempura, and my head went into a cycle and was like, wait, no, what is it? That they're not releasing as much product of that, because mainly that, and not in the sense of that they're short running it or anything like that. They just don't need to make as much because they're not selling as much, because the popularity is just not there as much. So I can totally imagine that Obsidian Flames just has a lot out there. I got an email from HMV today saying they were selling the 151 UPC for £109. HMV must have a massive stock they just can't get rid of, because the TCG is just not as big as it was when it was selling, instantly selling out. It's just not there anymore. I mean, it's good. Like, we can get it for a decent price. We can buy it for decent money, like 25 quid for a Obsidian Flames ETB. Yeah, I'll take one of them. But yeah, like it's just what it is. It's a cycle.
I think it's interesting that it's kind of mirroring what happened in normal retail, where when the pandemic was on and people were selling shops out of toilet paper in one day, the automatic restockers were like, okay, we have to have a full shop worth of toilet paper every single day, and that didn't stop. So shops were like, we have no room to put anything anywhere because we're still stocking like it's the pandemic. And I bet because of the run on Pokemon cards during the pandemic and the criticism that the Pokemon company faced, they spun everything up. You can't deny that it's, at least in the UK, it's very easy to get anything you want. Like modern sets, super easy to get anything you want. I know that's not the case in America. America's too big, okay? Some of you need to secede. But in the UK, I've never struggled once getting a set. Maybe the day that 151 came out, there were a few product lines that were a bit hard to get, but even then,
I can't get
like,
151 in store. I can't find 151 in a single store around me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I can't. If I go to my local Asda or Tesco, there's no 151. There's Obsidian Flames packs, obviously, but like there's nothing 151 whatsoever. It's online retailers seem to have 151. Even shops in Manchester, if I go into Fanboy 3, there's no 151. But there's loads of Obsidian Flames, even got the build and batten stadiums.
I'm still seeing a lot of 151 on shelves. I've seen it like I've made my regular haunts the last few weeks, but that's Bristol, maybe that's Southwest. I don't know. We're a little bit out in the sticks.
Yeah, it's basically all good here as well. For 151, you can't get you can get ETBs, no problem. You can get tins pretty easily. The poster collection and the binder, I think, were only printed for the first runs or something like that. Like they're not something you're going to keep printing like the ETBs. But yeah,
no.
I know it's always been the case. We've always had this release cadence for Pokemon cards, but it just feels like there has been so many this year. Like between like Crown Zenith, Scarlet and Violet, Paldea evolved, and then going into and I also think this was affected by the fact that because Japan got 151 first, 151 Japan and 151 English felt like two completely separate releases 6 months from each other. So it feels like every month there's just been this big kind of wave of cards. Like it's been.
But we had like Crown Zenith and 151 felt back to back.
Yeah,
that was a massive issue. Like that was so unnecessary. They're still printing Crown Zenith until in January. Recently, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm kind of talking out my arse a bit there, but it felt so close.
You can still get the I think it was for Black Friday they made like a new Pikachu Crown Zenith box, even though that's not they just must have printed so much of it. So yeah, this is a symptom of the hobby being in a dip, which is kind of understandable. We don't have the pandemic hype. Like if we went back to pre Sword and Shield, like the Sun and Moon era, like I'm sure the exact same thing happened. That's why those middle sets eventually become extremely expensive because people don't really think about them. But yeah, I think just pick some stuff up. Like they're really good sets. This is the best era for Pokemon card art in the TCG there has ever been. The alt arts alone are absolutely incredible. But I just don't know if this will impact how much stock places actually order from now on. You've got to imagine when none of this Obsidian Flame stuff moved, they saw Paradox Rift coming and they're like, no, thank you. You can keep absolutely all of that. I don't. Apart from in like a TCG store, I've not seen Paradox Rift in a supermarket or anything like that. It seems still stuck.
Not as much.
I haven't actually.
I've seen a few,
That's a good point.
Much.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's probably all still back. It's probably in the back of the warehouse, waiting for the Obsidian Flames to go.
Yeah. Get rid of all these single blister packs that Morrison's are selling for like 500 quid. That takes us on to, I mean, the next set is later this week. What have we got? What are we expecting this week? I've got 4 ETBs coming. Nathan, you got anything coming this week?
I'm not sure what I've got coming yet. Pokemon are sending me some out, and I was like, I'm going to hold out buying any until I see what turns up. But I will get some, and I'll figure it out. I'm trying to save after Christmas, so I'm excited. Something's coming. I don't know what.
Nice.
Talk about it next week.
Yeah, I also have the similar situation. I pre-ordered 2 ETBs from the Pokemon Center, and I also have a box, something from Pokemon coming. I don't know what it is. I assume it'll just be the usual an ETB, I guess. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm excited to open it. I'm excited to get the cards. I've been watching some of the pull rates on YouTube, kind of seeing what's going on, and those the actual secret rare illustration rares of the EXs looks tough. Like. I've only seen one get pulled. It is mad. I've not seen a single Charizard EX. I've seen the normal Charizard EX, which is just a reprint, I think, from Obsidian Flames. But that's it. Like, it looks like a tough set. Maybe even tougher than 151 to pull them. The baby shinies, like one every other pack, they're fine. But yeah, it's going to be a tough set.
I was more worried about them than the normal, than like the EXs, because those will come eventually. But those baby shinies are just like, because there's so many of them. Like, I'm a completionist. Like, getting all that stuff is just a pain. But yes, we will post on the Secret Lair Twitter at the end of the week what we end up getting. Nathan, we go to you for the Pogo update. What's happening this week? I saw it was Porygon on the old community day. How did you get on?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was a community day catch up, so I already have a few Porygon. I think I got 9 in the end, so not bad at all. This week is Landorus Therian form is coming to the raid schedule from Wednesday until the next Wednesday. Landorus, as you may know, is very, very good and competitive. It just appeared in the top 8 in Charlotte regionals as well. I mean, obviously Landorus and Thundurus normally do. And then there is the new Pokemon Go Taken Treasures event, which sees the return of Team Go Rocket. Giovanni now has Shadow Kyogre. There's a Shadow Ho-Oh weekend coming up. And Varoom and Rev Varoom, I feel like I always say those wrong, are being introduced into Pokemon Go. And also, if you want something to do today, Annihilator's now in the game, so go have a look back, see if you've got a Mankey or a Primeape who's got some banging stats, and make that your buddy. Go smack 30 Ghost or Psychic type Pokemon, and you can evolve it into an Annihilate.
Oh, where am I finding Ghost or Psychic types at the minute? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, mate, no, you can do it. You can do it. The Team Go Rocket grunts. God, that to me a sec. Some of them have got Psychic, some of them have got Ghost, but also quite a lot of people at the moment are being very, very considerate, and the community has been packing gyms with Ghost and Psychic Pokemon to help everyone get the wins they need.
That's surprisingly nice.
Yeah, that's unlike the Pokemon Go community, to be fair.
And that's kind of it. Oh, I also... Shadow Ho-Oh raid weekend, which is coming up this week at time of listening, is the introduction of a shiny Shadow Ho-Oh. So you can get a shiny Shadow. I mean, good luck. I ain't seeing one, but somebody out there might get one.
I look forward to seeing Joe Merrick tweet "Good morning" with a picture of one.
Exactly. Yeah, he will.
A house full of them. You mentioned Charlotte Regionals. Tell us about this. You're popping off in the pre-show about one Mr. Wolfie. How did you get on?
Mr. Wolfglick, yeah, absolutely. He just won the largest Pokemon competition, VG competition ever. He's won his 8th regionals after taking home the win at Charlotte. Obviously, really good run up to Worlds and stuff as well. Just fantastic win. And what's the name of the guy who came in second? He's a relative newcomer. It's like Nick something. The guy who came in second, I would need to find out his name. Basically, he started competitive last year, quite a young lad, and he came like top 64 128 in 3 regionals, and then came second to Wolfie. So, God, I really need to remember his name. I feel awful, but the lad who came second in these VG regionals, keep an eye on them. And also, Wolfie never one to leave an opportunity to wind people up. Included Regirock in his team, which was fun, and it even got the final hit to win the tournament. So I'm sure there's a video coming to explain why he did that. I think it was something to do with countering, and I can't remember.
Yeah, I think I watched a video on it for his last year's run, and he had Regirock in that as well, because it has 3 abilities, and I can't remember what they are. 2 abilities is what everyone knows, and there's a third ability which countered the attacks of something everyone else was using, and it's so bloody vague. But he was using it last year as well, from memory.
Yeah.
Though, so him using it again is quite surprising, given his of just using complete stupid teams and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
But it's nice to see him do well again at this tournament, and I hope he can actually go all the way, I guess, because seeing him not do well at Worlds last year is kind of like,
he's
okay.
he's a good talent. And Pokemon TCG wise, Giratina, Lost Box, still top of the pops.
When's that circling out? Is it not quite soon?
I don't know if Giratina itself is being taken. Dexerto writer Andres Velez did the news on that one earlier, and he's our TCG expert. So all I know is what I read from his article. But yeah, I know that Giratina came top. Miraidon still top 5. Roaring Moon still number 2, I think. But Mew and Gardevoir are expected to take big hits with rotation. But I don't know. I should know more.
I don't know. I don't play the game. I don't care.
I do.
My
care.
TCG update is
I know you do.
I still just have Norman sitting here. I've not put him in my binder yet, but I've just got Norman because you need Norman. Only 6 quid.
I opened some Pokemon cards. I forgot what I pulled.
I've not opened packs in ages, man. I'm shaking for Friday to come so I can get a proper. I'll have 30 packs of Paldean Fates to open. That's basically. I'm going to try and secure 6 more so I can essentially get like a booster box of them.
Can you?
But
save something for the podcast next Monday.
I will. I'll save a wee flutter.
Maybe
I say that, and then my partner will bully me into opening all of them. Tom is making some racket. What are you doing, son?
I just dropped all my cards on the floor. What was the card that I said the other week was one of my favourites, and it was just some random Rainbow Rare?
You tell me, mate.
Oh, that bloke who was like Clive or Blake or something. It was some random guy that when you picked it up, me and Nathan were both like, "Oh yeah, cool. That looks great."
Was that from Silver Tempest? Was that a Silver Tempest?
Was it the bloke? With the bloke with the slit back hair and the glasses from Scarlet and Violet?
I've just got that on my table, just in the middle of nowhere.
How much do you want? How much do you want for it?
Was it when Paldea evolved? Right, you guys just chat for a second. I'm trying to find this card.
Oh yeah, we'll talk amongst ourselves. Thanks.
Just hear him clearing up in the background.
For the folks at home, Tom is currently clearing his desk very loudly. That new microphone of his is really highlighting the crinkles and the cronkles all over the place.
How did you even tip all that over? What were you doing? Oh, that's it. Get
Tom,
the tin.
I swear to God, we need to stop this percussion. Oh,
at least just like.
Oh, right.
For anyone
folks.
in audio, I'm just smashing together 2 Paldea Friends tins.
No, don't worry. For the 2 people still listening after that audio cacophony, we better say ta-ra. We've got no history this week because nothing ever happened on the 22nd of January. Next week's show will be the Paldean Fates Fallout. We'll be reviewing the set. We'll be talking about what we still need to pick up, how our packs went. And while I'm in LA this week, I'm going to try, emphasis on the word try, and visit a Pokemon store and see what I can get. Any big plans this week, Nathan?
Might be popping to London for something gaming related, not Pokemon, sadly. And obviously, we'll be picking up some Bad and Fates. Not going to Liverpool regionals because I'm very busy, but wish everyone competing good luck and Godspeed.
Oh, yes. Oh, we tease. There might be a wee in-person thing from certain members of this cast in the coming weeks.
Nice.
Nice. I'm winking for the I'm winking at Nathan for the audio.
You need like a comedy
listeners.
wink noise. Oh.
Yeah. Tom's not invited because he lives in Manky, Manchester. Speaking of Tom, any big plans this week?
Yeah, so my intention is to go and buy some more of these Paldea and Pals tins from my local Asda, because I've bought a few of them now, and I've had a good pull in every packet of Silver Tempest, which is why I was trying to see if that that card was from Silver Tempest. I can't remember, because it would back up my theory some more. That maybe that not the God Pack Silver Tempest ones that we're going to go around might be in my Asda in these tins, and I kind of going to go and test the theory because I've had some I just want to go and find out. I want to go and see. That's what I'm going to do.
Big week
Just
for
spend
you,
some
then.
more money on Pokemon cards.
Spend more money on Pokemon cards. Thanks again for watching, listening to this episode of Secret Rare. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please leave them down below on YouTube and find us on Twitter.
Concerns.
Yeah, concerns. You know what this podcast is like. At Secret Rare Pod. Until next week, say goodbye, Nathan.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye, Tom.
Bye, Tom.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.